My name is Carrie Fico, and today I'm going to be asking my brother Philip Fico a little bit about his experiences at the workplace and bullying. So tell us a little bit about your position and what your experience on the job site was like.
My position was a food service supervisor at the Hampton Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing. My experiences started off very well. I started as a student, as an intern actually, and the director at the time loved the work I did. I helped her a lot, worked one-on-one with her. She decided to hire me as a part-time supervisor. About 2 or 3 months after I got hired, she was offered another job and left. And at that time, the lead dietitian actually took over as director, and it pretty much went downhill from there for me.
Tell us a little bit about how it went downhill. What was your interactions with the news?
He didn't take a liking to me, we could say. I wouldn't say right off the bat. Maybe after a couple weeks of working together, he saw the way I worked, and I worked with a lot of kids who were my age. I don't want to say kids, but people who were my age. So I got along with them. I could interact with them a little better than he could, and I felt that I had a better connection with them than he did, and they responded to me better than to him, and that caused problems between the both of us, since he felt, I guess, that I was impeding on his position a little bit, maybe felt a little threatened, and he took that out on me as anger. I would get in trouble constantly for the tiniest things that even if other supervisors did, they wouldn't get in trouble for, but I would. And I tried to fight it, but that also didn't work for me either.
How long did this go on for?
Um, like I said, probably like 2 weeks after he started, and from then on out until I decided to leave.
Can you give us a specific example of a time you remember where maybe the bullying was at its worst?
At its worst would be the day that I quit, because I felt that I had had enough. Um, so I received a voicemail from him about 11:45 on my way to work. I was due in at 12 o'clock. Supposedly he called me earlier, but for some reason the voicemail didn't go through until that time. He was calling to see if I could come in early because the morning supervisor had called in, and I would have had no problem going in early. I've done it before. But like I said, I didn't get the voicemail until 11:45. I don't know, whatever it was. As soon as I walked in the door, I punched in, walked into the kitchen, was putting on my hairnet, and he turned the corner, and he just went off like anything I've ever seen. He just lost his mind. He was accusing me of lying, telling me I'm full of shit, um, just getting in my face. He brings me into his office, where he was sitting down at his desk, and I was standing. We're probably about as far apart as we are, and he's sitting. And again, I'm just trying to explain to him that, my phone, whatever, I didn't have service or whatever it was, I didn't get the voicemail until 11:45, so there's really nothing I could do.
Yeah.
And he decides that he's going to not believe me. Not only that, but stand up, lean over the desk in my face. He's probably about this close, with his finger pointing, yelling in my face, "You're full of shit. I don't believe you. I hope you're looking for another job." And I mean, at this point, it was not a work issue. It was more a personal issue. If you're telling me that you hope I'm looking for another job, you have a problem with me. So I decided pretty much at that point it was time for me to go.
And since those problems lasted a significant amount of time, do you feel like you had support from any other supervisors or higher ups where you can turn to?
Well, the other supervisors were supportive. We all talked with each other. Um, the one that I saw the most of, the girl, she was very supportive. She saw all the problems, but she was more in a situation where she had to kind of put up with it because she needed the health insurance, and she has a family to take care of, so it's understandable. I brought the problem to human resources when I got written up because I was accused of saying something, which you can't write somebody up over he said, she said type of stuff. And at that point, they listened to me with the administrator and human resources together. I worked with them in another facility, so they were familiar with me and my work ethic. Um, it didn't really help. The problem kind of got worse. I guess he kind of backed off for a week or two, but then it got worse again. I guess because he felt like I was going above him to solve the problem. And it just, after that, nothing worked. I went to human resources another 2 or 3 times, but they never did anything for me after that.
So do you feel that bullying influenced your decision to leave that position?
It was the only reason. I mean, the workers were great for me. They listened to me. It was my first supervising job, which, you go in at my age at that time, you get kind of nervous or whatever, but the staff was great. The other supervisors worked with me. It was just the director's attitude towards me that made me quit.
Do you feel like there should be legislation that supports a safe and fair workplace?
Well, I know there are some like discrimination acts and things like that, but as for bullying, particularly, there's not really, I guess, a law that says you can't bully somebody. I mean, I'm sure it's not something that's encouraged, but I believe there should be something in place where, if in my situation at least, if a employee goes to human resources or to the administrator of the building, it should kind of be his or her responsibility to look into the problem a little more and not just side with whoever has more authority or whoever is the higher up just because they have the authority or more authority doesn't necessarily make them right in the situation. So I think there should be some type of law that requires the very top person to kind of get more involved and do a little more investigating into the issues.
I agree with you. I'm very sorry that happened.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Anytime.